Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
You really adopted the dark. I was born in it.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Bazinga.
2 in the box. Ready to go.
We be fast.
They be slow.
Cool.
And we're recording. Welcome to the Mount Rushmore. Oh shit, got the wrong one. Thank you for checking out.
No, that's how you should keep it.
Thank you for checking out.
This is the Mount Rushmore reunion.
Yeah,
we're gonna have gas.
You know, there's a part of me that had I had more time, I would have written out, like you guys used to do, a specific intro for every single episode. And there was a part of me that was like, I'm gonna go back and listen to an episode and then write an episode and write an intro like that. But I got 2 kids and I'm homeschooling one of them, and fuck that. So welcome to the Mt.Geekmore podcast, your favorite podcast where you like to talk, debate, and argue your top 4 Mount Rushmore, if you will, of your favorite pop culture subjects. Today's pop culture subject, as you can tell by looking at your listening device, is the worst theatrical movie sequels to a good movie. Good movie is very important. I am Nary Science. With me, as usual, we got Daniel DeBona.
What's up, y'all?
And we have, like we said, we have a very special episode today. This is a kind of Rush for reunion of sorts. We have 2 of the creators of the original podcast that I completely stole this idea from. It is David A. Smith.
Hello, everybody.
And Daniel Wagner.
Howdy.
All right. So because
I'm thinking.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say just so the listener knows, we've told this story a bunch of times throughout the years that we've had the Geekmore podcast. But Rush 4 had this format first. We used to do on the other podcast that I have, Woo Bro, What's Up Bro. We used to do Mount Rushmores, but we never had a 4-person panel. It was never around the horn. It was just back and forth. Hey, just shoot me your top 4 of something. It was very spontaneous. And then I heard you guys just skimming through iTunes, and I heard Rush 4 podcast. And I fucking became number 1 fan, maybe number 2, because DeBona was right up there with me as far as fanhood. And then when you guys stopped doing it, I emailed Wagner and asked for permission, and he was like, "Of course, fucking do it." So here we are. Thank you guys for having us for being on, and I will call you Wagner and you DeBona because both of your first names are Daniels, and both of you guys are white. So that's how we're gonna differentiate between the both of you motherfuckers.
So am I allowed to say dirty words on this?
Oh, dude, I don't. Thank you for not listening for the last 30 years. Yeah, we have.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, I quit podcast.
Yeah,
I quit podcasting. I quit listening to podcasts.
Oh shit, you fucking you. Is it like a heroin thing? Like I can't even be around it, man. I can't even be around podcasts anymore, man. I can't even hear one.
It's like when a great athlete, he quits playing, and anytime he sees sports, all he can do is think about, like, oh man, this is what I would have done. I'm a great athlete in this business, and I just couldn't be there. But please continue to fluff my dick some more, though. That was good.
But
and I will jump in and say, this is I don't know when the exact date we did the first episode, but it's probably right around the 7-year anniversary, because it was in May of 2013.
Nice.
Because I remember working a wedding in South Carolina towards the end of April and going back and forth with Wagner about the concept and like getting the first episode set up.
So this is a story.
And everybody on this episode has hosted this show before.
That is true.
So just to put this out there for, I don't know, David and Wagner, I don't know if you guys know this. But I told this story to DeBona a few weeks ago that I was actually the last guest on both the Rush 4 podcast and the TV podcast that David did. So I shut fucking podcasts down is what I'm saying. That's how, like, if you want to close out a podcast and never want to do one again, you fucking call me over.
You're like the John C. McGinley of podcasting.
The show killer.
Forgive me for this.
Yeah.
I completely forgot you were on it. What was your episode?
The Office.
That's right, because I remember you had to go out. No, I might be thinking of Lewis, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, Lewis had to go outside when he was doing Friends with You. He did it from his car.
That's right.
Sounds about right. I've had Lewis before. I've had Lewis on the podcast. His connection is not great. All right. So, with that said, we go around the horn and we talk about how we came up with our list. What was our process, our logic for coming up with the list? So, David, just because you're the one clockwise on my screen, you're gonna go first. How did you make your selections?
Okay, I made my selections, and of course, this is a very broad topic, and there's a lot of egregious turds. I'm using a TJ term right there. Shout out to TJ Rip. But I'm using only films that I've seen, and I have avoided a lot of horrible sequels.
Yep.
But I have also seen several bad sequels. So that's how I picked my list. I've got one film that actually has a pretty historic significance to me on this list, but I could not forgive it in the scope of everything, so it made my list. But I can talk about films I haven't seen, but for my list, these are only films that I've seen that I think were horrible sequels.
That's a good one. I have that too. Wagner, what do you got? How'd you make your selections?
To Wagner or to Bona?
No, Wagner.
So I looked at, did I finish the movie? That was a big one. Did I actually finish watching it? Was it, because one of mine is, it's a part of a series, so it didn't kill it, but did it set it back so far that either they never made another one or they had to take a decade plus long break from it? And then it was kind of looking like I looked at some box offices, looked at some Metacritic, looked at all that crap, but I don't believe in any of that hip hop. So mostly that was it. Like, did I even make it to the end, and how did it end up affecting it? And right now, I'm going to let you know, I kind of just thought of another one, and I may end up having to revise this list.
Right.
We may have some classic Daniel Wagner on the fly, just change everything.
Nice.
So
Audibles, man.
About an hour ago.
So the question is, if you didn't finish the film, was that like the benchmark for making your list? Like it was just that bad that you didn't finish it, or did you have to finish it for it to make your list?
No. There's a movie that I did not finish on.
Okay.
Fantastic.
There's a story behind it.
There's one I fell asleep through when I first saw it.
You know, I can't even. As I get older, I can't even put that I can't put that as one of those things, because I find myself, if I start watching a movie around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it doesn't really matter what it is. Chances are I'm going to take a nap. It's just nap time for me. I got, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a traveling comedian, and usually I'm not doing shit at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so I sleep. So the other day we went to go watch. I forgot. Not the other day. A few months ago we went to go watch a good. It was actually a good movie, and I was just like, bye bye, good night. I was just like taking a nap in the fucking theater, and I would just wake up to make sure my kids were still there. I'm like, oh, all right, they're fine. All right, go ahead. Debona, how did you make your selection?
But you're Hispanic, so it's cultural.
What was that?
It's cultural. You're Hispanic, right? It's siesta time.
Well, yeah. Well, Hispanic is not from Spain, but thanks for playing. Am I racist and losing?
Racist shit. You didn't even know that.
It really is a Mount Rushmore reunion.
No, as far as my list, so to keep myself from getting too far into that world of just watching a franchise degrade, I limited myself to direct sequels. All of mine are number 2s in more ways than one. But I made sure they were all movies I'd seen, not just things that I heard were going to be bad, so I didn't watch. So there's one that I think might make a list or two that I actually never saw because I just heard it was terrible. So I've seen all of mine, and honestly, my basis was if it was so bad that I almost felt like it sullied the first one.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. I took a little bit of both. I only have number 2s. I only have direct sequels. I just felt like putting, parts 4 and 5 and 6 of a franchise is kind of like just shooting fish in a barrel at this point. Like, it's just, what are the chances that a number 5 or a 6 could be good? Looking at you, Star Wars. So that there's that, and then I have. You're right. Like we all said, I have to actually watch it, and like David said, I have avoided a lot of shitty movies. Just a lot of times you just go, no, I'm not. There's no reason to watch that. There's no reason to watch that. So I didn't. And then the other thing for me, what made it difficult to make this selection was the fact that I'm a pussy and I don't like horror movies because they actually scare me. So a lot of bad movies are. A lot of bad sequels are horrors, and I'm like, I'm not gonna watch it anyway, so I don't give a fuck.
I did limit myself to one horror movie because this very easily could have become an all horror movie list for me.
Yeah, I don't have any horror because for exactly the same reason.
Hey, let's circle back around to this because I catch hell constantly. I'm also an anti-horror thing, and for me, I don't like to see people just get hurt for fucking.
Oh no, I don't. I'm all right. I'm all right with that. That's actually one of my niches in Pornhub. But I just get scared. I'm like, I know the whole point of the movie is to get scared, but I don't like that feeling of actually feeling scared. Like I don't like that feeling, that uncomfortableness. I like seeing people die. If there's like an action theme in the background and there's people blowing up, I'm fine with that. But then when you put that spooky and then jump scares, I'm like, I'm out. Fuck this. And then I gotta watch Disney movies to go to sleep. I don't need that shit in my life, dude. All right, so
I just want to see your algorithm where the rest of our Pornhub algorithm is just a whole bunch of like, you know how all porn now is like mildly incestuous?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I kind of want to see this chick get blasted from the back, but also I don't know if I'm getting put on the government watch list right now. So like all of our algorithms are just like, I can't believe my stepbrother came in me.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I can't believe it either. Let's see how that started.
Well, you know, the weird thing is, it was about a year ago. It was about a year ago that whole thing started, that I would just all of a sudden just go to Pornhub like I do every day, twice a day. And then all of a sudden it's like, we think you will like this. And it's like my stepsister. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what did I search for in Google that made Pornhub go like, we know you, you're going to like this. And I'm like, what the fuck did I type? And it was really disturbing. I mean, not now. Now it's normal because I watched plenty of it. But the first time I'm like, what the fuck, Google? Jesus.
I'm acclimated. They're always stuck in something. Like they're cleaning under the bed.
That's so true. That's so true.
What I love right now is on the little side where it's usually like Brazers or something will have some little like animated thing, and they've got that little kid with the giant wiener, and he's just like, and like he'll run up and like start banging the mom, and the mom grabs him and like holding him over her head, blowing up.
That dude is fantastic. Like we all seen that dude and go,
dude,
what the fuck?
The best life.
It's true. All right, let's get started, fellas.
Round 4.
I'm in no mood for your wives' crap. Let's get it on.
All right, David, hit me, brother. What do you got for number 4?
I'm coming out firing with this one. Sequel to one of my all-time favorite films, a movie that I think that's still probably one of, if not the best comic book movie of all time, X-Men 2. I am throwing up X-Men The Last Stand.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely horrible sequel when you compare it to X-Men 2 and even X-Men 1. X-Men 2 ends on such a great note. Oh, we're going to do the Phoenix Saga in the next film. And then, of course, Bryan Singer. Now, of course, we all know what's up with him. He leaves the project to go do Superman. They bring in an equally horrible person in Brett Ratner, and it's just a pile of shit on a movie screen for about 2 hours. And I was so angry with what the potential they could have had and what was the final product. Because X-Men 2, I still think it's probably one of the best comic book movies ever made. Such high expectations going into the third one, and it's just like someone shat in my mouth.
Yeah, like, and now they've tried the Phoenix Saga twice, and fucked it up.
And screwed it up both times.
The thing that hurt so bad about Last Stand was the fact that Kelsey Grammer was actually a really good Beast.
He's the one you wanted to see his Beast, like if you were to think on it.
And so that on top of the fact that Phoenix Force related stories I have a special place in my heart for made that one hurt really bad.
Like, I was so excited Beast was going to be in it. Oh, they've got Juggernaut in it. Even better. And then it's like, oh, no.
Here's a YouTube joke. You seen the YouTube kids?
Yeah, that was the moment I started hating YouTube and the internet. It was thinking, he's like, I'm the Juggernaut bitch. Because I had too many friends that thought that was so funny for way too long. To the point that it'd have to be like, okay, I gotcha. Like, this is no, like, the G.I. Joe ones. Remember the G.I. Joe PSAs?
The more,
like
not the more you know. Yeah.
Yeah, those are funny.
Knowing
like,
is half the battle.
And watch those all day, but like the dude just yelling, I'm the Juggernaut bitch. Like, that's a one hit. Like, I got you. You're the Juggernaut bitch. But yeah, and the second that it was rumored, they're like, oh, they used that. I was like, oh no. Like, this ain't good. And yeah, that is a movie I did not make it out of. Even finger blasting would not get me to finish that movie. It's bad. It almost made my list. Like, it was right up into the end. Even my old lady was like, "You're putting the X-Men 3, right?" And I was like, "Oh no, good call." But
I made an audible on this one. I had something in its place, and I guess if we get around to honorable mentions, I'll bring it up. But I had to come out the gate with it because I just hate this movie so much.
It's rough, man. It just hurt.
You know what? What's sad is I've heard Brett Ratner on podcast years ago, and this movie came up, and he was like, first of all, I had nothing to do with the writing. Like, I got the project already. Like, it basically had started, and then I got the project, and then he said Kevin Feige was fucking next to me the whole time. Like, Mr. Marvel was next to me the whole time, and he fucking didn't give any. Like, this is the movie he wanted to make. It's fucking. He's like, I get shot. He talked about that. He gets that movie put on him, but he's like, that I came in at the fucking end of it. I literally did as little as I could because there was everybody. The studio was involved. Kevin Feige was involved, and he was like, I couldn't do shit with this movie, and he got upset with it. So it kind of made me look at it in a different light. But yeah, it's still not good.
It could have been worse.
Yeah.
But see, this is why Kevin Feige is the genius that he is, because he probably sat there and let the shit go down because that's a stock move.
Yeah.
Yeah, motherfuckers. Let's let this movie sink and destroy this franchise, because guess what I've got coming? And we're going to be able to look so much better, and people will be like, wow, Fox is fucking up. And that's exactly what they were able to do. Like, I think, actually, I respect Kevin Feige even more because he is a mastermind. Like, that's some fucking supervillain Wall Street shit.
That's some current Elon Musk level insider trading. Yeah, exactly. Like, destroy the company so I can sell high, and then just bury it out. Yeah, fuck yeah, Feige. I hear you.
I think that the part that bothers me the most about X3 is the Archangel and how they massacred that character.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, as you should. I wish I would have. I wish I would have forgotten about that.
It was the kid from Fast Forward, right?
I don't know what Fast Forward is, but yeah, it's that kid.
It's an old Disney Channel show.
Because that was the whole thing. They were going to have the original team in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they got it right with First Class.
Cyclops in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, and it didn't even show it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd avoided spoilers completely and totally, and they killed him. I was like, so this is gonna suck. All right, here we go.
Well, I'm not a Cyclops fan, so I didn't give a fuck about that. But yeah, Archangel, the fuck they did that shit to him. So yeah, that's a good pick. Horrible movie. X3, The Last Stand. Wagner, hit me, man. What's your number 4, brother?
All right, so my number 4 superhero movie, currently sitting at an 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is a movie that killed a franchise for a decade or so. Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Did it make it through? I saw this at a dollar theater, and we ended up skateboarding around the theater because we were the only ones in there. It was so bad. I made it to the part where they're motorcycle racing, and that's when I tap out. So maybe it gets better. I've seen clips since then, and it hasn't.
No.
But,
no.
I mean, between, like, I got you, Schumacher. I got you. You want to go camp. And that's fine. The TV show in the 60s was fine as a camp movie. But, man, there is a level of the camp that you get to where it might as well just have, like, little sound effects of when they fall. And just, like, fart. Like, as soon as the enemy gets hit, just, and like, oh, fat fart. Like, that level of stupid. They have the ice skates in the boots. Like, you couldn't have prepared for that. That means you walk on ice skates constantly. You did not know Freeze was showing up, dog. Like, you didn't know that maybe I should wear the ice skate boots. And you have your own credit card? Is that hard? You have to fill out an application for that. Someone knows your social security number, Bruce Wayne. Like, someone had to put that in there. I've got credit cards. It takes putting information. Like, not a smooth move, asshole. Is Robin allowed? Is he like a co-card user? Can he go to Costco and buy shit on the card? Or does Robin have his own? Is Robin old enough to get a credit card? They never really established how old he is.
Is the Costco membership in Wayne's name or Batman's?
Yeah. What is the age gap between Alicia Silverstone's parents and her uncle Alfred? Because Alfred's old as fuck, and she's young as fuck. And if her parents were that old, then maybe they had her when she's like, they're in their 50s. So then that adds a whole nother level to it. It's bad. It's bad storytelling. And
here's my big thing.
If you defend this shit, I swear to God, I'm coming to burn.
I'm not, because I don't think I've ever actually seen it all the way through, so that's why I didn't approach it. My biggest criticism with this movie, George Clooney should have been the best Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
If you look at George Clooney, you're like, okay, that's a millionaire playboy that could also moonlight as a superhero.
Oh, did you remember every episode of ER when he would end up at some kind of gala? They would just have him walking in the snow with his tie undone and the scarf on and the pea coat. Oh, my God. Clooney was fucking fire as a rich dude. And, yeah, I would have loved for more, like, movies from him. But there's only so much you can do. I'm surprised his career survived. Because Chris O'Connell's career sure as fuck didn't.
That's the damnedest truth it didn't. It
you know what? Sue me, Chris O'Connell. Come earn your first legitimate dollar in 30 fucking years.
Clooney still had PR to fall back on at the time, and he could kind of wash away that. The others really didn't.
Hold on, give me a second, fellas.
Clooney
Hold on, give me a second. Give me a second.
A fart man.
Hold on, give me a second. My kids are knocking on the door. Hold on.
Apparently, according to Ricky Gervais, George Clooney loves fart jokes. And he'll sit around with a fart app on his phone and just hit it randomly and giggle to himself. Like, dude,
Leslie Nielsen was like that as well.
Was that 22? All right.
Leslie Nielsen was about the fart. I could see
Leslie Nielsen being all about the fart. Like,
Priscilla Presley said on like the set of Naked Gun, he would just have like a whoopee cushion or some like fart machine noise and just, randomly do it just to get a laugh.
Yeah.
Are we back now?
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're back. Sorry.
I thought about starting a podcast where it's just us doing morning zoo crew, but at 3:00 in the morning. And it's just all like, it's Friday morning fart song. So we're calling people doing crank jokes and shit at 3:00 in the morning. Like, it's pre-production.
You know what's amazing about Batman and Robin is we've made it this far into talking about how awful it was, and no one has even mentioned the fact that they put nipples on the bat suit.
That wasn't a big deal for me. That
How
wasn't
is
a big
it not a big deal?
Because the rest of the movie was so much shit that you're like, really? You're gonna focus on fucking nipples? There's so much other shit.
I always focus on nipples.
Everything that Wagner said was way worse than the fuck. Like, if everything else that Wagner said was fixed, and then maybe we could be like, hey, wasn't that weird about the nipples? That was weird, right? But like, for people to focus on the bat, whenever somebody goes, oh, the bat nipples, I was like, really? That was your issue with it? There was a whole fucking plethora of things that were fucked up with that movie. Like, I don't understand.
Maybe I really like ice puns, Neri.
Oh, dude, that's the puns were so fucking bad, dude. Oh my god. Take 2 of these and call me in the morning. Fucking the worst, dude. I watched that. I tried rewatching that movie again. I'm not lying. Probably, I don't know, 4 months ago, 5 months ago. I tried. I was like, I'm going to just sit here. And I was like, now I understand. I'm not coming off of watching Batman Returns. I'm going to go ahead and watch this with the thought process of this is a campy movie. Like, they're going to go back to the, and I was like, all right, let's, and I just couldn't just, fuck, it was so bad.
It's rough,
it was
man.
so fucking bad. And I've watched this movie a few times throughout the years, but I this last time, like 4 or 5 months ago, I probably got through like half an hour.
Did you tell the kids I went somewhere?
No.
And I'm now looking at bat nipple pictures. These are fabulous.
I was looking at Clooney's films right after it. He didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
Like, did not suffer one bit.
No, you know what he did? He had to make a good movie before this one actually came out. Like, there had to be a thing where he was like, let's make a good one so that when this one comes out, the next one that comes out right after that is going to be good. What did he make right after that? Was it Peacemaker? What did he make right
His
after
next films are the Peacemaker, The Thin Red Line, Out of Sight, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Waiting for Woody, and Three Kings. And then he's got like the perfect storm.
Three Kings.
Three Kings was fantastic. Yeah, he didn't fucking miss. The only thing that bothers me about the bat nipples is there was no bat areola. Like, what the fuck was that?
See, that's what I'm saying. Look,
Well,
give me some.
has puffy nipples.
Give me some nipples on Uma Thurman. I mean, if we're just throwing nipples around.
It's a shit movie. It really is a shit movie. If it wasn't for the fact that I limited myself to only picking direct sequels, I would. Yeah, this is just it's very bad. And here's the thing. I don't even think Clooney, to be honest, was a worse Batman than Val Kilmer. I think Val Kilmer was an even worse Batman, but he didn't have nipples, so nobody fucking talks about that. So, all right. So Batman and Robin, good pick, Wagner. DeBona, what do we got, brother?
So for my number 4, I've got a movie that I actually had to go and double check got a theatrical release because I wasn't sure if it was a straight to DVD sequel or not. Turns out it did get a theatrical release in 2009 with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 13%. My number 4 is S. Darko, a Donnie Darko tale.
Oh, shit.
What? Does that exist?
Yes. And so S. Darko is a sequel to Donnie Darko that is about his sister. And it was released 8 years after the original came out, but in the movie it's 10 years later. She's still dealing with her brother's death. Spoiler alert for the end of Donnie Darko. And
I've never seen
anybody who doesn't care about spoilers.
I've never seen it.
Oh, okay. Well, shit. Here I go on my island. But
I'm going to let you know I wasn't going to see it. So it really hurt my feelings.
So, and she's dealing with her brother's death, and they tried to recreate the creepy weirdness of Donnie Darko by giving his sister similar visions and things like that. But they did it with this whole sleepwalking storyline, and it involved this soldier with PTSD and this other guy who was really weird and her friend. They overused the time travel element just way too much, just frivolously time traveling. Whereas, which in Donnie Darko, the actual time travel element of Donnie Darko, like the fact that he chooses to do it the once is a key moment in Donnie Darko. So to see them just kind of just throw this around in just a gobbled mess, it was just too much of everything. It was just awful. At one point, there's like these flaming tesseracts like falling from the sky, and there's a meteor crash. Yes, actually.
But it worked in with so the Tesseract went through S. Darko.
Yes. Yeah, it went through S. Darko. That's how it, and then it landed in the ocean, and they found it there. So the two things that made S. Darko make my list finally are the fact that, one, I really enjoyed Donnie Darko. I feel like it's a movie that lends itself to multiple viewings, and you can get really into Donnie Darko and find some really great elements that make that movie super enjoyable. And this was so bad compared to that. But the other thing that made S. Darko hurt so bad was there was a really great YouTube viral campaign that I watched. That was actually how I found out the movie existed before I rented it, where they had this series of 3 YouTube videos that were back and forth between people arguing about different things that did a very good job building hype for it. And by the time I got S. Darko, I was very excited to watch it. And then it was just terrible. So since none of y'all have seen Donnie Darko, I'm sure this pick means absolutely nothing. But
Look,
I'm not just you could have made up entire plot points, the most outrageous shit, and I'd be like, yeah, that movie sounds horrible, man.
Okay, so the reason I never saw Donnie Darko is because of people who like Donnie Darko.
That's the same reason it took me so long to watch Rick and Morty, because the fans are absolutely insufferable.
Oh man, Rick and Morty so far this year has been excellent.
Oh yeah, I know,
That
but
show is excellent.
But I took for the same reason you didn't watch Donnie Darko, I took forever before I started watching Rick and Morty, because the fans made me hate it completely blind to it.
Hey, as a Channel 101 guy and a Yacht Rock fan, seeing Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon do something like just put tears in my eyes of like, that is my boy. And
But yeah,
I'm so proud of them. But let's talk about Donnie Darko.
I was going to say, but yeah, Donnie Darko fans were insufferable.
It was always the same people that would try like hell to tell me that Cold Chamber was good. And be like, no, they're not. No, I don't have time for Cold Chamber.
Time out. Because you brought them up. When I went on tour with the band to do photography for a week, and we're touring around the Midwest, and we're at this shitty venue, and like, I think this was Oklahoma City, I think, which is like half rodeo and country, whatever. They had a bunch of like 8x10 publicity shots, Neri, you probably taken like their headshots basically for the band. They had one for Cold Chamber on the wall, and I sat and looked at that for a few moments and was like, oh my God, Cold Chamber was actually a band that existed. And I'm being reminded of that in somewhere.
You were staring at it like a magic eye, like waiting for the real band to be revealed when you let your focus go.
Exactly.
But yeah, so anyway, S. Darko, like I said, it's one thing that I found with one exception to my list was that all of these sequels happened a good amount of time after the original, and it was 8 years later, and it was absolutely terrible.
It's got 3.6 stars, so I don't know how bad it could. Oh wait, that's out of 10. Never mind. IMDb has it rated 3.6 out of 10, which I gotta be honest with you, I don't check IMDb for ratings. Not that I check anybody for ratings, but I don't recall seeing a movie that's like 3 points. Like that's pretty fucking low. Like that's a lot.
Yeah, like I said, it's I did the Rotten Tomatoes and the critics reviews. So also comparatively, Donnie Darko is 87% fresh / 80% from fans, whereas this one is 13-18. So even Donnie Darko fans didn't like this movie.
Ugh. Sounds awful.
Probably especially Donnie Darko fans.
Yeah, can you imagine walking into this one blind? Like I've never seen Donnie Darko, but I'm gonna watch S. Darko. Like that would be even worse, I would imagine.
The little bit of sense that it made because of Donnie Darko would be lost on you, and you would hate it even more than I hate it, probably.
Yeah, all right. That's a good pick, brother. S. Darko. My number 4, I kind of had these two kind of going back and forth, and I'm gonna go with, because there was already 2 superhero movies on this list on number 4. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the other one that's not necessarily a superhero movie, kind of, and go with Transformers 2.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh.
So I don't know if you,
Short list.
I've never seen it, but I know enough of it to know this is a good pick.
Now, here's the thing. I will say this, because I was such a huge fan of the original, or the first one, and I will say this: when I watch a movie, I go, that's not bad. It's not like, and I do know that it suffered tremendously because of the writer's strike. That's when it was happening, so they had to rush to get, because they knew the writer's strike was going to happen on X date, and they had to rush to write it before the writer's strike happened, so that when the writer's strike happened, they were already filming. And so I do know there's kind of an asterisk as to why it was bad. It's kind of have that, but it was just not fucking good. It was a shit show.
That combined with unchecked Michael Bay after the success of the first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Recipe.
Also, plot holes so big that Optimus Prime could actually drive through them. In Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, the Decepticons literally have apparently the technology to create a really hot chick that they use to try to seduce Witwicky. If you have the technology to create a perfectly human clone that's a technology, fuck that Witwicky. Go the G.I. Joe route and take the presidency.
Yeah.
He took the presidency. I mean, there's like, he's like making out with this hot chick, and then she has a tail, and it's like, oh, she's a Decepticon, and it's like, so why are they so obsessed with just this one little cube if they could just replace people with Decepticons that look like people? I was done. From that moment on, I was like, I don't see any reason for the rest of this movie. Decepticons can create clones. Why are they focusing on the wrong thing?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just this is kind of like the bat nipple thing to me. I'm like, if that's what that's when it's gonna upset you. You have a valid point. I just think that the rest of the movie was such shit too that I'm like, all right, well, I guess if that's the one piece of diarrhea you want to focus on, that's fine. But there's a lot of other fucking diarrhea going around here, so I was like, all right.
Isn't there literally a racist robot called Skidmark?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really bad. Like, it's just that, it's one of those things. And coming from a lover of action films, I love action movies. So action movies to me, like plot holes and things like that, I could just take myself out of the thing and be like, look, bro, this is an action flick. Yeah, it's not going to make much sense. Enjoy the explosions and stuff. But there was so much, like, it was such a departure from part 1 that I'm like, well, part 1 made fucking sense though, right? Like, it's a whole thing.
Right.
And yeah, I just so there it goes. There's my pick, man.
I actually enjoyed Dark of the Moon, so I think that sometimes I look back and forget how bad Revenge of the Fallen was, because I did enjoy Dark of the Moon.
I enjoyed Dark of the Moon. I thought Dark of the Moon was good. I was like, this is why, like, it got shitted on by critics and everybody alike. Both those movies did, but I like part 3. I like Dark Side of the Moon, or Dark of the Moon, or whatever the fuck they call it. I thought it was good, man. But part 2, there's no redeeming qualities to it. I mean, I guess, you know, this hot chick, what's her name? Whatever the fuck her name is, that she's in it. That's it.
Megan Fox?
Yeah, Megan Fox.
Toe Thumbs, Megan Fox.
Toe
there
Thumbs. We go. Yeah. Wagner, you looked at you.
What?
You just said Megan Fox.
You don't know about Toe Thumbs?
Oh yeah, she has her thumbs.
No, I don't.
Her thumbs look like big toes, dude. Google it.
She has that.
Look, I'm not trying to pick apart an obviously hot chick, but those look like big toes.
No, she has a thing with it too, where thumbs. Yeah, it's a thing. Did you not know about
this?
It
is a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and
I didn't just make this up.
I'll be damned. They do look like toes.
Yeah, and it's a condition.
Real, though, right?
It's a condition that is like 12% of the population have, and she's one of those 12% or some shit.
It's got something to do with the way the joints in her thumbs are formed or something. But yeah, they look like big toes.
And she knows about it too. Like she does like whenever they film her like holding something, she requires them to have a hand double. She has like a hand model in her contract.
What?
Something
That's
crazy.
some good work. They go in there and be like, okay, fifth audition, see your hand. Let's. How much does it look like her? Okay, definitely not a thumb on your hand. So that's good. So there's part one. You've got that part.
Yeah, they're hand models, man. They're hand. It's like, can you pick up shit with your feet? No, your other feet. All right, that's cool. All right.
Yeah.
So number 4.
I bet she's hell on a fucking monkey bar though, with that thumb. Just like a fucking grip from hell.
Yeah, that's yeah, she picks up. Yeah, she's super hot, so that's fine. I don't give a fuck. I'll suck those fucking thumb toes. I don't give a fuck. So the number 4
She'll
is,
actually jerk you off with that grip, though, just right off your body.
I'm fucking down. Number 4 is we got X-Men 3, Batman and Robin, S. Darko, and Transformers 2. Moving on to number 3.
Round 3.
3 is a magic number. Yes, it is.
All right, David, what do you got for number 3, brother?
All right, this is the one that I mentioned that has a personal connection to me because it is literally one of the first movies I ever remember seeing in a theater. I don't know if it was the first one, but it was one of the first ones. Summer of 1987. It is Jaws 4: The Revenge.
Oh shit! All right. You skipped over 3? You skipped over 3D?
Well, I'm going to explain.
All right.
Generally considered one of the worst films ever made. Jaws 2, boring, a mix of, kind of a slasher movie and a teen movie. And
boring.
Snyder, being forced to do it, and he's just, pissed off throughout it. Jaws 3, Jaws in SeaWorld, horrible, but they had the 3D element. And here's the thing. As a kid, Jaws was one of the first movies I remember watching, on the TV, ABC Movie of the Week or whatnot. Loved it. Loved everything about it. When I found out they had sequels, I wanted to see all the shark movies. Jaws 2, Jaws, we had them all. So Jaws 4 comes out. Little kid, I'm probably 5.5 when this movie comes out. We're seeing it in the theater summer of 1987. I thought it was great. The sharks roaring, that's awesome. Of course, as I get older, Jaws remains one of my all-time favorite movies. Seen it a million times. I can accept that Jaws 4 is a horrible film. Do I still enjoy watching it from a perspective? Yes. But can I also say that it's just does not make a lick of sense? The shark does stuff that is physically, naturally impossible from start to finish. Of course. Can I also mention that Helen Brody is remembering things that she was not there to remember?
Oh my God, I never even thought about that element of it.
Can I mention that? Can I accept the fact that the ending was shot so horribly that there's multiple versions of this ending floating around, and you can see how amateur hour it actually was? Of course. It's got, the great Michael Caine stories about how he did this movie just because he read the script initially and the first page said Hawaii. So I don't know what that draft was. But he basically just wanted to do a movie in the Caribbean. So that's why he does this movie. And of course, he misses out on getting an Oscar. And then he says, it's a horrible movie that ends up buying him a house anyway. But yeah. Totally horrible movie. I wish they had done the original concept for Jaws 3 was going to be an airplane spoof. It was going to be Jaws 3 People 0. It was going to be a spoof of the whole thing. Universal never wanted to, rock that boat, but they sure as fuck rocked it with Jaws 4, and we never got another Jaws movie. And I've got the idea for what the Jaws sequel should have been. Hooper should have ended up being Quint. Sharks come back to Amity, that whole 9 yards. But yeah, Jaws 4, it had to make the list for me.
I consider Jaws 2, it's on my short list just because it was so mind-numbingly boring compared to how intense Jaws 1 was. So I had 2 on my short list. But I did not even think about that one element of 4 of her remembering things that she wasn't a part of. And now I hate it even more. That's spectacular.
I've never seen Jaws 4. I saw Jaws 3 probably about a year and a half ago because one of my co-hosts loves all the Jaws movies, and he's like, watch Jaws 3. It's bad, but it's like comically bad, so you could enjoy it for being comically bad.
If you grew up with it, you would have liked it.
Yeah.
But seeing it like first time like a year ago, yeah, I can understand why you would think it's horrible.
Yeah, no, I mean it was awful, but again, if you go into it knowing it's going to be bad, you're like, fuck it, let's just watch a bad movie, and it's fine. So I don't think I even saw.
Was Jurassic World before Jurassic World?
Yeah, I don't even think Jaws.
I'll give you that.
I've never even seen Jaws 2. I've seen Jaws, and I've seen Jaws 3D, and that's it. That's where we're at.
We want to talk about napping through a movie, man. It is painfully boring, Jaws 2.
Yeah. It's just basically a rehash of the first one, but all the suspense is gone.
Yep.
Because you knew the fucking shark
like The Hangover too.
All right, so Wagner, what do we got for that's Jaws 4? What do we got for number pick 3, Wagner?
Okay, so there's only one. Actually, this would be a second movie. This is the first movie I ever walked out on a date for. I made it halfway through, and yes, finger blasting would not even save this. It was her birthday, and I still left her at the movie theater, and she apologized for making me go there.
That's peak Daniel Wagner.
Wait, hold on. Wait. You left her, so you finger blasted her, then you left her at the theater.
No, I didn't even get that far.
Okay, but so you left her at the theater.
I wasn't even willing to watch the movie long enough to get the blast.
Wait, hold on. But I just want to make sure. So no finger blasting, that's fine. But you left her at the theater, and she apologized to you.
Yep.
Man, that is not a Hispanic woman you were dealing with, because that shit does not happen.
No.
That shit does not happen with Hispanic women.
Broken ass snow bunny.
All right, so
This movie is Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2.
Oh, shit.
I will tell you the moment I walked out of it is at the 45-minute mark when they're doing a part of it where she's like, people say a lot of things about the goths and people don't understand us, and that was checkmate. And I was like, I cannot stay here anymore. I can't do this. And she looked at me and said, I'm so sorry for making you come to this movie. I'm like, that's cool. Hit me up later, and I went and hung out with my boys and giggled my ass off for now 20 years over how bad the Blair Witch 2 is. And it's one of those, like, you didn't need a sequel. There was no reason whatsoever. The Blair Witch was a cultural, like, touchstone for that year, 98? 98 or 99? 99? I mean, in a an AOL internet world that we were still able to be spoofed. I mean, everyone I knew, like, we legitimately thought when we went and saw the Blair Witch, we were going to watch Snuff Film. And they tricked us. So you can't then turn around and try to turn it into like a big budgeted horror flick when the original was filmed for about $38. It should have been done. And as far as I got into it, I did not enjoy. I probably wasn't going to enjoy it much longer anyway because it was a horror movie, and I was going to end up showing my true colors. And by that, I mean going and hiding in the bathroom and getting high and just missing all the other parts of it. But yeah, Blair Witch 2, like, so bad I wouldn't even finger blast, stick around and watch it.
So Blair Witch 2 is the classic story of trying to it's trying to take a franchise and further it when you don't have anything prepared to do with that. So what they did was they dusted off a script for a movie called Book of Shadows and then shoehorned it into this Blair Witch universe that they were trying to create. This at times has resulted in terrible movies like Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows, and Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Where this has happened. There are other times where that exact same thing has resulted in great movies like Saw 2, but Book of Shadows is absolutely the playbook on how to do that horribly, and it is god awful. And it really upsets me because I feel like the framework for a good horror movie is in Book of Shadows. Just making it fit into being a Blair Witch movie ruined the potential for what Book of Shadows may have eventually or was originally scripted as.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Yeah, you
I
thought
never
about
saw,
that way more than I did.
I never saw part 2.
I'm a big horror movie guy, man. And like I said, Season of the Witch was the exact same thing. After 2 Halloween movies, they were like, we've got to keep this going. And John Carpenter was like, I don't have any more movies. They were like, oh, well, we've got this one. The Mike Myers isn't in it, but we'll just call it Halloween 3. And it was terrible.
I legit, I swear to God, did not know that Blair Witch had a sequel until
2 sequels, brother.
Yeah, that right now I'm today years old when I learned that it has a second sequel. I'm right now years old when I just found out that I didn't know I had a third sequel. I didn't a second sequel. I didn't fucking know. I didn't know that I had part 2
because there shouldn't be sequels.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Shouldn't be there.
Correct. I didn't know that I had a sequel until probably like 10 years ago, and then 10 years later, which is right now, at the time of this recording, I'm learning there was a part 3. I have no fucking idea, so I skipped this movie, man. But
it was an attempted big budget remake of the original that they tried to keep a secret and told people they were viewing something else, and then when the movie and then they were literally watching it when they found out it was a Blair Witch movie, and it still sucked.
Oh God, that's awful. All right, DeBono, what do you got for number 3, brother?
So my number 3 was one of the 2 movies that I had in mind when I came up with this idea for an episode, and it ended up becoming number 3 for a reason I will get to later. But coming in with a 0% critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes, my number 3 is Highlander 2: The Quickening.
Nice.
Ooh.
And I will get to why it is number 3 instead of being higher on my list in a second. But this movie, okay, so like I said, 0% critics rating. It's as opposed to the original that's got a 69%.
69.
Yeah. And it was an absolute just triceratops turd of a movie from top to bottom. From the fact that they made the Immortals aliens, to the fact that they just kept fast forwarding further and further through time, and we had to watch Connor McLeod slowly age, to the fact that there was some weird half-assed attempt at social commentary, and the fact that the major plot point in the movie is the fact that the ozone layer is completely depleted, and so they create a shield that goes on top of the ozone layer to help Earth. It was just absolutely terrible, top to bottom, beginning to end. The one
Connery's back for and makes no sense that he's back.
Yeah, well, no, so at the end of the first one is he wins the prize and he chooses to age slowly, so he'll eventually die on Earth. So he gets old over the course of this one. I think you're thinking of Endgame, the one where they also brought in the guy from the TV show.
Okay, because I vaguely remember there's been a How Did This Get Made episode, I think, on the sequel. And it's probably good.
So it was just absolutely terrible. John C. McGinley is in it doing this really terrible voice where he tried to make his voice as low and as deep as possible, and it just makes it comically bad. It's just awful, awful, awful. And I was going to have it higher until I was reminded of the fact, and what saved it while still not being great, but what made it go to number 3 instead of being higher on my list, is there was a cut later called the Renegade Cut, eventually remade as the Special Edition Cut in 2004, that fixed a lot of the things that made this movie bad. Unfortunately for them, so many people saw it when it was absolutely terrible. They went back and there was tons of footage left on the editing room floor. When you watch the original, there's a fight scene that is very obviously in 2 different locations that they make seem like one fight scene because they just edited these 2 longer fight scenes together into one. And you can very blatantly tell that they were two different things that they edited together. They eventually go back, put both of them in, change the ending. What is really spectacularly bad about this movie is there is an ending that was only released in Europe for 1 week because it was no, I'm not even kidding. You could look this up. It was in Europe. They released this. They released it with an ending for like 1 week, and it was so bad and so cheesy that they pulled it and then sent them copies with a different ending. But occasionally when you catch it on TV, you can still see it with this really bad ending that is literally two of the main characters hugging each other in outer space and turning into light beams and like disappearing.
That's hilarious.
I'm not even kidding. That is a very real ending to Highlander 2. The original cut of this movie is quite honestly one of the worst things that the population of this earth has ever been subject to, especially after Highlander 1 being so much ridiculous fun to watch. I even love the bad accents. They're like, hey, Sean Connery, yeah, you be a Spanish guy. This makes sense. And but I love Highlander. And I watched the TV show and I love it. But this movie is terrible. And so, yeah, my number 3, Highlander 2, The Quickening.
All right, I'll take your word for it. Again, I've never even seen Highlander 1. It seems like something.
Dude, it's so much fun. It's so much
it
fun.
seems like something I would like, but I never got around to it.
Oh, you would love it, dude. You would love it.
Yeah. And Sean Connery, by the way, not the most unbelievable Spaniard. Let us not forget Russell Crowe in Gladiator. He was also a quote-unquote Spaniard. Didn't even try. Did not even fucking try with an accent. Didn't even try.
Well, the only redeem is that at that time there was no such thing as a Spanish accent at that time in Rome.
Sure.
He would actually have a Moor accent. He would more than likely, if he was a Spaniard, had been a Muslim.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So why call him Spaniard? So why call him Spaniard?
Yeah, he should have been a Moor,
There's
right?
no fucking point.
Because Muslim doesn't sell. Use that word. You know that. It's a dirty word in America.
He could become a president. He could be fucking doing it in the movie. Totally joking, by the way. Not fucking, just totally joking. All right. My number 3 is my only action movie. Actually, it's my second action movie, but it's quite frankly, the original was one of my all-time favorite movies. And it's not a great movie, but it's one of my all-time favorite movies. And the original one, it had everything growing up as a kid that I wanted, which is action movies.
I think I know what yours is.
And titties. And I fucking love this movie.
Never mind.
Actually, I don't even think there was titties. But my number 3 is Universal Soldier: The Return. Where
there's a sequel to Universal Soldier?
Brother, there's like 4 fucking sequels to Universal Soldier. Yeah. There's it's a lot. I know for a fact they have 2 sequels. There might be a 3rd sequel. I'm not even exaggerating. 4, I think was maybe a stretch, but I know for a fact there was 2. There was Universal 2, The Return, and then there was another one after that. And I think there was part 4 that had nothing to do, but parts 2 and 3, or parts 2 and 4, I think it was, has Jean-Claude Van Damme in the fucking movie. Here, you're gonna love this one, the Bono. Actually, Wagner too. You're a wrestling fan. Universal Soldier 2, the main baddie in this one is fucking Goldberg.
I did know that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah. So he's the main bad guy.
That's where he met his wife.
Yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, as a fucking young kid, I love the original, one of my favorites, Van Damme. I'm a Van Damme fanatic. I fucking adore Van Damme movies, even when they're not good. I was like, I don't give a fuck. This movie's amazing. He does a split.
You did Mount Rushmore of Van Damme movies.
That is correct. He is the shit. I love him, right? And then you get part 2, and they're like, we're gonna throw in Goldberg. I'm like, I love wrestling. I love Goldberg. This is fucking made for me. Thank you, Universal. And then I'm assuming it's Universal. I don't know. And then I watched the movie and I go, what the fuck am I watching? Like, it was so fucking bad. I could actually say that I finished watching this movie barely. The next sequel after that Van Damme was in, I forgot, was recent, was maybe like 6-7 years ago. And that movie I tried watching, and he's now the antagonist in the last chapter of it, in the latest chapter of it. He was the antagonist, and it was like trying to be trippy and like, oh, fucking flashing lights and all this, and I could have finished watching the movie. I was like, this is one of the only Van Damme movies that I started watching that I did not finish, was Universal Soldier Part 13, whatever the fuck it was. But Part 2 was so bad. I watched this in theaters. I remember buying a fucking movie ticket, like excited, like, oh my god, this is fucking the return. He's gonna be back. The Van Damme. This is it. And it was such a shit fucking movie. It was bad on all fronts. It was just what I did appreciate though is that his character is much more of they gave him more of a personality. So they let Van Damme be more of a normal guy, not just a quote unquote badass. They let him he took he had some funny lines. I'm like, oh, okay, that was funny. That was like, they made him human. I appreciated that. But just the rest of the plot and the rest of the movie was just fucking god awful.
Bro, there's so many Universal Soldier movies. There's a made-for-TV movie with Burt Reynolds that is non-canonical. They would like you to know.
No. Is it in the Legends universe?
There's Universal Soldier Regeneration.
That's the one. The one he was in. The last one he was in.
And then he was in Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning after that in 2012.
Jesus Christ. So many.
With Dolph Lundgren.
That's the one, yes.
Because it was...
Yeah, you were saying, David, I'm sorry.
I just feel like they're like going back and forth with the Terminator franchise with like calling dibs on like the subtitles of films. It's like, and they've got Day of Reckoning. What can we come up with?
Has anybody claimed Genesis yet? What about Genesis with a Y?
Genesis. Do we got Genesis? Anybody got Genesis? I remember watching both those, and they kind of bleed together because I never finished watching either of those last two that Van Damme was in. And I remember thinking to myself, oh wait, but this one's gonna be good because it has Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren coming back, and it's just, which is totally stupid. If you watch fucking part one, why? How could? All right, never mind. Fuck it. Let's do it. Let's just have Dolph Lundgren back in, I guess.
Oh, just addendum, by the way. There's 2 made-for-TV movies also in the universe.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
There's so many.
This is the Universal Soldier franchise of movies is like the Simpsons franchise of video games. There's 22 versions of it. We got 22 other fucking versions if you don't like that one.
None of them were
3. How many were there?
22. All right. So number 3s were Jaws 4. What is this? Blair Witch 2, Highlander 2, and Universal Soldier: The Return. All right. So let's start off. Let's go to our number 2s.
Round 2.
Dose, the sequel to Uno.
All right, David, hit me, brother. What do you got for number 2?
This one is just horrible, and it's mind-boggling when you think about it. It's a sequel to an incredibly popular film that took, I think, 20 years to make the sequel, which is crazy in retrospect.
Chinese Democracy by Guns N' Roses?
Not quite. Independence Day.
Oh, yeah. You guys everybody just goes,
the bomb, the beam came down.
There's video footage somewhere of David's house exploding right now. Oh man, the movie's bad. There you go. You're back.
Okay, there you go. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, Independence Day, incredibly fun movie. It's a wonderful summer film, lots of quotable lines, all that. So they take 20 years to make the sequel, which I'm sure a bunch of studio politics study on. We don't need to get into. And everyone's excited. Oh yeah, Independence Day wasn't fun. So this is going to be in the same vein. It'll be cheesy fun and all that. And it was not at all. I was sitting there thinking, God, they're just misfiring on every level. It was one of those examples to where you could tell they had to cut out so much. Like, they just threw shit against the walls like, okay, we'll fix it in editing. And they didn't fix it in editing. They just chopped it up and hacked it. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, this movie is so bad. I need another 30 minutes of it to make it even palatable. And the way it ends in an obvious attempt like, oh, this is going to be a great, success, so we're going to make another one of these. And no, they're not going to make another one of these. It just ends to where it's like, oh, yeah, well, I guess we're going to have to wait another 20 years to where the stink of this one fades off.
Yeah, it didn't look good. I got to be honest with you. I didn't watch this movie. I love the original. I think the original's a little overrated, but I get it. It's good. It's a really good movie. I enjoyed it. But I saw the commercials for this, the trailers for this, and when I heard that that pretty much nobody was coming back, like Will Smith wasn't coming back.
Well, everybody came back except Will Smith and Randy Quaid, and of course Randy Quaid's an insane person, and Will Smith was probably like, yeah, absolutely not.
And Will Smith loves a fucking sequel. Will Smith loves a fucking. He's like dipping his toes into every sequel he can make, just to get back into that money. But if he's saying no to this, there's a reason, fellas. There's a reason. We probably shouldn't watch this. Probably shouldn't be made.
Well, that's the thing with Will Smith, because he was supposed to be in, what was it, Django? And he has a group with them that assess the risk reward for the roles he does, of how much money he can make versus what it will do to his public image or his future earnings and stuff. And that's
why
how
he
he ended up not in the
Matrix.
Yeah. He is a very calculated, smart dude. I big up to the Fresh Prince.
Yeah, but also he should have done Django though. But he should have done Django.
Yeah, no, but he's the anti Samuel L. Jackson that will take any role that you will give him. Like Will Smith tried to make himself, and his others. That Will Smith is. When was the last time he had anything like controversial? Like he's so good. Like there's so many movies he could have done, like Django, where he'd be like, oh, a little bit controversial. Look at him stretch his wings. But could you see anyone but Jamie Foxx as Django? Like,
yeah, Will Smith.
Devona, you're muted.
Yeah, Devona's muted, so it's yeah. There you go. Yeah, I can see Will Smith. I love Django. Django's my favorite, literally my favorite Tarantino movie, and I think Jamie Foxx was great. But I could also see Will Smith in that role. I don't now. I feel like I'm playing that fucking game. Am I racist? Like I feel like I'm just like, is that racist? I don't know. I can see him in the fucking movie.
I mean, look, it's one of the most quotable, can't be quoted movies there is.
So good.
It's so quotable, and so much of it you can't quote. You just have to eat it and be like, oh yeah, remember that one?
Can we just agree that the hoods, while in theory were a good idea, but it's just not practical? Can we just agree that the hoods were not? The holes are all over the place. Fuck y'all. My wife did work hard.
So Will Smith has got a company out there that are like a group of people that are assessing risk reward. They told him not to do Morpheus and Django, but they let him make, what was that movie he made with the son, After Earth?
Yeah.
He did Wild Wild West instead of The Matrix because it was a fourth quadrant movie.
Hey,
Act 3, giant robotic spider.
You know what? Somebody got fired. Yeah, I'm saying somebody from that group got fucking fired. Somebody who was excessive. He's like, the risk reward. You shouldn't do Morpheus, but you should do Wild Wild West. Like whoever the fuck said that to him got fired. They're no longer on the team. They got to be. I mean, that's a sacrificial lamb.
Hey, but Kenneth Branagh got duped too. So
what was the lead main song to come out of The Matrix?
Oh, good point.
Yeah, what's the main song to come out of Wild Wild West? Do you think that The Matrix, they're going to allow Will Smith to get a #1 hit while he's there? That's good management.
I don't think that happens. I think if you ask him, I think he'd rather go back and rewrite history, man. I don't know. But all right, so
that song was huge.
So Independence Day 2. All right, we got that. Wagner, what do you got for number 2, brother?
Number 2, my pick is Rocky 5.
I knew somebody was going to bring it up.
It's so bad that honestly, it's the first time I've acknowledged its existence in a long time. You took the idea of a Rocky who has conquered the Cold War. He ends the Cold War in one punch. The Cold War ends. He lets everyone know that if we can be cool, you guys can be cool, we can all be cool, and we're done. There's world peace. And he follows that up with a fucking street fight.
But that street fight was dope.
That street fight was fucking dope.
No.
That street fight was fucking dope. Fuck that. Sorry, man.
I know Neri and I are in the minority here, but that street fight was dope.
That street fight was dope. That whole fucking scene. I'm telling you, look, I will gladly acknowledge and say, as a huge Rocky fan, I am a fucking. It's in the intro of the fucking of the podcast. I'm a huge Rocky fan. I will gladly acknowledge that it is by far the weakest link, the weakest installment of the Rocky franchise. No doubt about it. If you have, those of us who have kids understand this. If you have multiple kids and they call you from school one day and they be like, hey, this is your kid's school, you'd be like, which one? Like, I know exactly who fucked up. What did he do now? Like, I know Rocky 5 is the weakest fucking link. I get it. I understand. But it's still a good fucking movie. I like this movie. I don't give a fuck, man. That street fight was dope. The fight that he had, the whole story that he had with his son, that he wasn't bonding with his son, I think that was fucking good. And it gave us that line where he says, and this is so funny because if you don't know the movie, you don't know the movie, but he says, when he's getting called out by Tommy the Machine Gun, and then the guys in the diner go, hey, Rock, you need any help? And he go, nah, this ain't no pie eating contest. That shit is so fucking funny because he's about to go, he's getting fucking called out. He's broke as fuck, doesn't have any fucking money. He's playing a ping pong game at a shitty bar in Philadelphia, and he's still throwing shit at the fat guys who are just trying to help him out. Like, that's so fucking hilarious to me. Nah, this ain't no pie eating contest, but go ahead. Shit on the movie. I know you're gonna, but everybody does. But I love this movie. I had to say my piece, man. But go ahead and shit on the movie.
And we're still made to believe a white dude is supposed to be the best boxer in the world. Like when
Rocky Marciano whooped Joe Lewis's ass.
Stallone had
Joe Lewis.
Stallone could have taken any boxer he wanted to say, okay, this is going to be the guy in this film that's going to be my protege, and then he's going to turn on me, and then I'm going to ultimately beat him. He takes another white dude. And
yeah,
again,
but do you understand?
Have you ever heard the Chris Rock line about Rocky IV?
No.
Two white guys fighting for the heavyweight championship. Boy, that's Spielberg something else.
Yeah. But it could have gone the other way. And can you see the racial tension with picking a black protege, and then the black protege turns on him, like, oh, what we can't fucking, we all going, like, there's a social thing where you like, there's a social commentary there where you like, if he would have picked a black guy, casted a black guy to then turn on him, now it creates a thing of like, oh, really? The black guy's gonna turn on you, so it's a whole thing, dude. And to be fair, we did have in real life Rocky Marciano. Klitschko is fucking white. I mean, he's European white, so he's like real white. You know, that's a whole other level of white.
No, Klitschko's from like the ghettos of Eastern Europe.
Yeah, but he's still white.
Still like late 80s, early 90s.
That is a different level of scary. It's the folks who survived the communist crush.
Yeah.
Like
he survived
here's
Ukraine.
my thing though with that fight is that, okay, he ruins his boy's career because there's no coming back from you let an old man whoop your ass in an alley. Like, Rocky should have done the right thing for that kid's career and laid the fuck down. Pride is a motherfucker. And Rocky should have just been like, look, I'm going to look out for the future of this sport, for the future generation. Because you think about it here, let's look at this from a Sports Center Stephen A. Smith thing. All right, we find out that top boxer here gets his. All right, we find out that Deontay Wilder gets his ass whooped by old ass George Foreman behind a bar. That's it for his career. Like, it's over. You never recover from but George Foreman whooped your ass, and he's an old man. Like, Rocky should have done the right thing and just get your licks in. You know, be like, listen, let me get my shit in. I'm going to get a couple of them. I'm going to get a rally, but I'm going to let you go over. Pass the torch. He's a shitty dude.
No, this isn't wrestling. You don't go out on your back. No, he even told him. We was like this, Tommy. We was like this, like two hands together. We was like this, and he came at him. He came at him again, dude.
You want to know an ending for Rocky V that could have tied back, to previous films? You end it with a fight like him and Creed did at the end of Rocky III.
Ding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fighting in the empty gym.
I put Rocky V. I think I kind of put in the same boat as like Transformers 2, where I do really enjoy that movie, and there's an added element of having a son that will make you go back and relate to that movie even more. But 2, it took a long time. I'm not claiming it happened like the next year. But the Rocky franchise came back, dare I say, stronger.
Agreed.
Rocky Balboa and the Creed movies are incredible.
Years,
yeah. No, it did take a while. It absolutely did. But, man, it came back as strong as it ever was.
And what we missed out on is the movie Tommy, where after he's got his ass whooped by an old man, and now he has no sponsors. No one believes in him. He's down on his luck, and that's the movie.
It's Rocky Cobra Kai.
Ruined my life. Yeah, Rocky ruined my life, and I'm going to kill Rocky.
Well, here's the thing.
The entire movie plotting his death.
Well, here's the thing. It's not even Rocky's fault. It's not even Rocky's fault for him losing his career. Because if you think about it, sure, Rocky won the fight, but the one.
Right, it's his fault. He let an old man whoop his ass.
But however, the one who really beat Tommy was H. So if you think about it that way, not really his fault.
Tommy Morrison still with us?
No, he died of age. That was the joke that I was making.
I knew he had the age. I didn't know he had already died of it.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson.
Yeah, he doesn't have the Magic Johnson money, dude.
On that.
Yeah. No. He was for a while claiming that he didn't have age.
I knew this movie was going to come up, and like I said, I know that Neri and I are very much in the minority, but man, I like Rocky V.
I fucking love this movie, dude. I do. I enjoy this movie a lot. We was like this, Tommy, like two hands together, like two fists. Home team. I think there's a lot. Again, very much the weakest link in the franchise. Totally acceptable. Totally acknowledge that. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it was the best Rocky or that it was better than 2, 3, or any other one, but I rather enjoy this movie. I did. I watch this movie often. I do the Rocky rewatch of the entire franchise quite often, randomly. It's not even
do it once a year.
Yeah, it's not even like oh, it's been a year. It's been like, oh, it's been 6 months. That's cool. Let's watch it again. Like I don't give a fuck. I'll just watch the whole series again, and I won't skip 5. There are rewatches that I'll watch through the entire series of them and skip a couple here and there. I tried rewatching the entire Star Wars series, and episode 2, I was like, I'm out. I don't need to watch this. That's fine. Let's just move on.
That was episode Attack of the Clones. I did the same where I did a complete watch through, including Clone Wars, Rebels, Solo, and Rogue One. The entire thing leading up to the 4th. And yeah, Attack of the Clones was I have thoughts.
Yeah, dare I say Phantom Menace aged better than Attack of the Clones.
Legit. Yeah. Agreed. All right, so Rocky V, number 2.
Angel?
The Bono, what do you got for number 2, bro?
My number 2 is a movie that came out in 2005 that I swore to myself I would never watch because I love the original so much. I stand by the fact that I think it's one of the Star's best comedic works. I think that it's still very funny. My ex-wife, it just showed up in the Netflix queue one day, back when you actually had to get your Netflix mailed to you. And it just showed up in the mail one day, and so I watched it, and it is absolutely incredibly bad. My number 2 is Son of Mask.
Oof. Oof.
Ooh.
Wow.
So Son of Mask, starring Jamie Kennedy, who I'm not hating on. I enjoyed Jamie Kennedy. It was the Jamie Kennedy Experience, right? His little prank TV show. I think that I don't know if I'm in the minority or not. I think Malibu's Most Wanted is hilarious. So I was like, there's no way. There's no way anybody can ever touch this. And guaranteed it's going to be somebody trying to be Jim Carrey. And nobody can be Jim Carrey. And what we got was not only Jamie Kennedy trying to be Jim Carrey, but we got him conceiving a child while wearing the mask. So his child was born with the powers. It's absolutely terrible. This is a 6% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wait. That's the fucking premise of the movie?
Oh, dude, yeah, no, legit. The premise of the movie is he finds the mask and he wears it to a party, and he's a cartoonist, and his boss thinks that he's just putting on a show to sell a new cartoon that he wants to make. And so his boss is like, this is great. You get a promotion. We're going to turn this into a cartoon. Well, then he's so horned up about like getting a promotion from the mask. Him and his wife make a baby while he's wearing the mask, and his child is born with the powers without having to put the mask on.
Fuck.
Him and Loki legitimately go to war over possession of his child, like Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero.
Holy shit.
And he puts on the mask, and they're like duking it out over who gets the kid, and then they're like, we both have the same powers. Let's just do it like when you're trying to see who gets the dog in a divorce, and we'll just call them to us. And there was this really fractured attempt at this lame-ass story about a dad realizing that he's got to be a good dad to his kids. It is just absolutely terrible. Just from top to bottom. Like I said, Alan Cumming is in it playing Loki. That seems like it should be something that's great, and it's not. It was just god-awful. And I did finish it, and it was just miserable. I, honest to God, don't even know if I chuckled one time the entire movie. It's just bad. It's rehashing old jokes. It's Jamie Kennedy trying to do Jim Carrey. It's just poor writing, poor production, poor everything. It is an awful movie.
Can I just make...
Hey, y'all remember Jamie Kennedy?
A couple things.
Movies that kill people's career.
Couple things. Can we just talk about real quick? Alan Cummings. This is a second movie. He's been in 2 movies now on this list. He's been in X3.
What was the other one?
He was X3, and now
Nightcrawler wasn't in X3. Nightcrawler's not in X3.
Oh, that was X2. You're right. That was X2.
He didn't want to do the makeup again, and 2, they thought that people would get confused if there were 2 blue characters.
Fucking dummies.
Not even kidding.
That's hilarious.
I'm not doubting you. I'm remembering that now.
Jesus. And you're gonna like this, DeBona. When I've worked with Jamie Kennedy, he's been a nice guy, man. He was a real nice guy. We've texted back and forth a little bit. He makes fun of himself. I know. There it is. He makes fun of himself for Son of Mask. He hates the Son of Mask. So, but I never knew that was the premise.
I'm glad, man.
I never knew that was the premise. I thought that Jamie Kennedy's character was the son of Jim Carrey's character, and that he found the mask. That's what I thought it was going to be.
No, the Son of Mask is Jamie Kennedy's son, who was conceived while he was wearing the mask. So he's born with Loki's powers.
Oh, you know what? Now I'm interested to see what your number 1 is, because this sounds pretty fucking atrocious, man. This sounds really fucking bad. And I mean, from your description, had I seen this movie, this would make my number 1. But fuck, dude, this is really bad.
There's a very specific reason that my number 1 topped this out. But yeah, man, it's god awful. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but like if you want to pour yourself just a big tall cup of rocks tequila that you like drinking and watch it, man, it's bad. You're gonna need to get a few drinks in you to make it through it.
All right. Fuck, dude, how do you top that? My number 2 is the first comedy on my list, and fuck. I think I should have gone before you because it's not going to be, no matter how bad this movie is, that Son of Mask sounds atrocious. Look, the original was great. I love the original. Snuck up on me. Didn't think the original was going to be good, but I saw it because the original also, like Son of Mask, had Jim Carrey in it. So I was like, I'm going to go see the sequel because the sequel, I feel like it's going to be a good one too. And it's Evan Almighty is my pick for number 2.
God. That one is.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that movie.
Yeah.
I thought you were going for the Ace Ventura sequel.
No.
Oh, see, I originally thought you were going to go Dumb and Dumber 2. Or Dumb and Dumber, or whichever one was the.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But right now, we're talking about Evan Almighty.
Oh yeah, that was Steve Carell, right?
Correct. You have Steve Carell. He's fucking. I mean, but it's just so dumb because while in the original movie, you have this guy, you have Jim Carrey who inherits the powers of God. He still looks like Jim Carrey, right? Even though he has the powers of God. And it turns out later on in the movie, we find out that he only had the powers of God for like 6 square blocks, right? And then in Evan Almighty, you literally have a guy whose beard keeps fucking growing and who has a fucking robe that magically comes on over his suit. And you're like, this is obvious that he's magical, right? It's not even like, it's fucking obvious. This is a whole thing. Why are we pretending? And everybody's like, oh, this guy's crazy. No, bitch, you're literally seeing his fucking beard magically grow fucking 3 feet long in front of your eyes. You don't think that, hey, maybe we should stop and listen to this motherfucker? Like, that doesn't occur to you? It's bananas to me. Like, this whole fucking premise is stupid. They could have picked another biblical character and it would have been fucking fine. They could have just done the same thing, the same premise, but now it's Steve Carell. Like, he's also now got the powers of God. You don't have to go to another biblical character. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So that's my rant about.
But they couldn't do the third one because the Southern Baptists killed him.
That's exactly.
For being a heretic.
That's so fucking. It's so dumb. It's
you ain't
so
coming
dumb.
to our goddamn fish fry.
Well, and the thing with Evan Almighty was like, there was that whole underlying thing with
Bruce Almighty.
Bruce Almighty. Thank you. There was that whole underlying thing with Bruce Almighty where it was like, look, just be thankful for what you got.
be a good
that
person.
whole thing. Be a good person for the point of being a good person. With Evan Almighty, it's like, so is God going to kill everyone again? Is that what's happening?
Just to teach one person. Just to teach one person a lesson.
One guy a lesson. We're just going to go ahead and wipe out the planet just so this guy can learn the lesson that Jim Carrey learned by making Jennifer Aniston's titties bigger.
No. We're just gonna kill 6 square blocks. It's just gonna be that square. Like, it's just, don't get crazy, Debona. It's just 6 square blocks. The whole premise is fucking dumb. But what I really want to get down to, David, did I hear you say that you thought When Nature Calls is a bad movie?
I've never seen it, so I don't
No,
know.
When Nature Calls is funny, man.
I think When Nature Calls, I literally like When Nature Calls more so than I like the original. And the original, I literally have a movie poster of the original in my fucking living room framed in my fucking, so I love the original, but part 2 is so fucking
that's so
good.
Miami.
Oh, that is so Miami. Did you have that when you met your wife? Like, and this is my framed picture.
No, I got it.
I know you're wet now.
I got all the movie posters that I have in my living room, which is basically like my what I try to make my theater room, my movie room. I got all of them while her and I were dating, which include Gladiators, Men of Steel, Goodfellas, Beauty and the Beast, and The Little Mermaid. Those are the ones I have. So.
Okay. I'm gonna answer it there. Worst movie the first time you're gonna bring a lady or a significant other, man, or someone who does not identify as any, but a person to the house, possibly fornicate and or get to know better.
Right.
I'm going all in with the nuts that if you walk in and the person has an Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me poster on their wall, it's a bad situation that you may not want to continue with. If they're like, check it out, Austin Powers, right? Make you horny, baby. Like, you need to get out. Like, that is immediately, I'm going all fucking in with the nuts on an Austin Powers. Because Ace Ventura, I'd be like, oh, fuck yeah. An Austin Powers one, that's just awkward.
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole lot of awkward. It's like in college, this kid got a tattoo he thought he was so clever, but over his belly button, it was a monkey, but it was like the monkey's asshole, and it was like spreading it. And he showed it to me, and I just looked at it, and I looked at him, and was like, "You're gonna regret that." And he's just like, "Oh man, no, it's funny." I was like, "I don't know how to try. I can't humor you on this. Sorry, Steve. Like it's a bad look." That kid dropped out that semester. I might have made him drop out of college.
That's another story of.
But let's be honest. When you're getting monkeys pulling their butthole to show. Like, you're probably not headed for the fucking Carnegie.
Yeah, and you probably don't have a six-pack. Like, that's probably not a thing, right? Like, you probably don't have a six-pack. That's not it's not like something that the ladies could, like, fucking overlook. Like, well, he's got a six-pack. Sure, he's got a monkey anus on it, tattooed on him, but he's got a six-pack, so I could just focus on a six-pack. Like, no, that's... all right.
No, it's just a monkey anus.
Number 2 is we got Independence Day 2, Rocky 5, Son of Mask, and Evan Almighty. All right. We got a couple honorable mentions. Let's see here. All right, so we have Dave Siegel from 4 to 1 has Star Wars Episode 1, Jaws 3D, Godfather 3, and Caddyshack 2. Chad Valdez has Jaws 2, Terminator 3, Alien 3, and Star Trek Insurrection.
Is 3 Rise of the Machines?
No, Alien 3.
No, he said Terminator 3 and Aliens 3. Yes, Terminator 3 is...
Terminator 3 drives the machines, and I'll defend that movie.
I fucking agree.
3 ends on such a down.
Yeah, it's a great ending. That's why I was wondering. I was like, he picked that one?
No, Terminator 3 he could have picked Salvation, and he picked Terminator 3, which I find weird. Ryan Flint picked Blues Brothers 2000. And then when I pressed him for 3 other picks, because apparently his Mount Rushmore only has one president on it, his other 3 picks are for number 3, The Next Karate Kid, which I have never seen. Then he picked Then he picked Anchorman 2, and he picked and then he picked.
I think he meant Godfather 3 is all I can think.
Yeah, because he put
Godfather,
which is. All right.
Godfather 3 isn't that bad. It's just compared to the other 2.
Exactly.
David, you and I I've said the same thing a million times throughout my life. Godfather 3 is not bad as a standalone movie. When you compare it to one of the greatest, 2 of the greatest films of all time. Yeah. And Sofia Coppola's acting is atrocious. But that's really the only bad part about that movie is her fucking acting. Ishmael Yano puts... he puts, let me see here, Grease 2 and Staying Alive. And I was asking for...
shitting all over Travolta.
Yeah.
Funny thing about Grease 2, for all the How Did This Get Made heads, one of the funniest How Did This Get Made episodes was when they were with drunk Anna Faris doing Grease 2 because it was June's favorite film. Literally one of the best episodes.
I gotta go check it out, man. I love that podcast. I don't listen to it. I don't listen to every episode, but the episodes I've heard are great.
But they need to quit with the 4-minute ads.
Sorry,
their ads are super long.
Yeah,
it's too long. Like, I got you. You're making money.
Yeah.
As somebody, I don't listen to podcasts.
As somebody who doesn't make any money, who loses money making podcasts, I would love some long ass ads. So Justin Conforti picked Dumb and Dumber 2, Now You See Me 2, Speed 2, Cruise Control, and Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. Carlos Navarrete.
Cruise Control was one that I didn't put on there because I've never seen it.
Correct. Me too. Because I knew better. I was like, "What? This is stupid. They don't go fast." Carlos Navarrete from 4 to 1 picked Jaws: The Revenge, Terminator Genisys, Speed 2, and Mortal fucking Kombat 2.
Annihilation.
It was Annihilation was really fucking bad, dude. John Evans picked Dumb and Dumberer, the prequel. It was a prequel. Mortal Kombat 2, D3, Mighty Ducks. I remember liking that movie. Is that bad? Was that bad? D3?
I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Yeah.
That's the thing with D3.
Yeah, and then he picked The Next Karate Kid, which kudos to him for actually watching that shit. Mark Hawkins picked Grease 2, Caddyshack 2, Any police academy.
Bad.
He said any Police Academy movie after the first, and I disagree with him wholeheartedly because a lot of them are really good.
I'll watch Mission to Moscow right now.
That's part 7.
Operation Miami Beach, man.
That's right. Operation Miami Beach, part 5. I'll watch that shit all fucking day. And then his number 1 was Weekend at Bernie's 2. And I literally do not remember watching that movie. I know I've seen part 1, but I don't remember watching part 2.
My wife brought that one up, and while I just, like, the Weekend at Bernie's gag was dead halfway through the first movie. Like, so I didn't even want to, like, finish the first one.
I agree. Alexa Castellanos puts from 4 to 1 Jaws the Revenge, Home Alone 3, Exorcist 2, The Hederick, and Look Who's Talking Now. She gave really good reasons.
I thought about the Look Who's Talking films.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I was going to pick Home Alone, like even... Another thing that I had was I don't like the Home Alone 3 pick for the reason that it wasn't the same cast. It's totally that. I mean, is that really a sequel?
That's a new movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jamil Leonard, puts from 4 to 1 Jason Goes to Hell, Phantom Menace, Star Trek Voyage Home, and Superman 3. Honorable mentions to Jaws 2, Transformers 5, The Last Night. Kind of like that one, to be honest.
He could have picked Quest for Peace, and he picked 3?
He picked Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, which is generally considered the best Star Trek film. Like, by far. Maybe 6, 2, I'll give you that. But like 2, 4, and 6 are considered like above anything else.
I've only seen 2 Star Trek. I've only seen 2 Star Trek movies, and it was Nemesis and Wrath of Khan. Those are the 2 I've seen. So
like
I don't.
The best and the worst.
So I can't. I have no dog in this fight. Yvette La Rosa.
Star Trek 5 exists. Star Trek 5 is considered the worst Star Trek film ever.
Is that not Nemesis? Is Nemesis 5? It sounds
no. Nemesis is the 3rd TNG movie.
Nemesis is pretty shitty. I got to be honest with you. It's really fucking shitty.
Yeah, Star Trek 5 is horrible.
Yvette La Rosa puts Halloween 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Amityville Horror 2, and The Exorcist 2. She literally picked all horror movies.
That's easy to do. Also, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is not bad at all.
Dude, Nightmare on Elm, I haven't seen it, but I saw a documentary. I haven't seen it in decades, but I saw a documentary of all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and this is where Gay Freddy, right? We're talking about Gay Freddy?
Yeah. It's got the very direct gay subtext. Maybe not even subtext.
I think that's just context.
Yeah, I think that's just plot. Dave Ulloa puts The Last Jedi. From 4 to 1, he puts The Last Jedi, Speed 2.
Oh, fuck him.
I agree.
Last Jedi's good.
I agree.
I enjoyed the shit out of it.
I loved The Last Jedi. One of is up there on my list. So, yeah, he wrote this whole reason that I'm not going to read. Speed, number 3.
Love you, Dave.
Number 3, Speed 2. Number 2 is...
It felt different than the rest of them. It contracted.
That's a pretty good Dave impression for somebody who's never listened to the podcast.
I don't like Rose. Why does a female have to hold a lightsaber?
The last one, not so much.
Traditionally males.
The last one, not so much, but everything else.
Getting his due.
But everything else, he did pull that whole thing. Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. Here's my problem with Here's my problem with his picking Revenge of the Fallen, because I have it too. Well, yeah, I have it too. But my problem is that
you picked it.
Yeah, here's the problem that I have with David picking it, because I know him personally. He doesn't like any of the Transformers movies, so he's just picking it for the sake of picking it.
Like, just pick one in the wheel.
Yeah, like he literally. He's told me.
Spun a key.
He's told me multiple times where he goes, "Part 1 was okay." And that's not the whole premise of the episode. The topic is bad sequels to good movies. If you think a movie's okay, for him to have it as number 2, really, I think it's just a shot at me, because I like the Transformer movies. And his number 1 is The Sting 2, which is really
that is bad. I didn't
especially
even think
compared to the original.
Yeah.
And then the last user mention here is Chip Valentine. From
My boy.
From 4 to 1. I was gonna say I don't recognize it. Normally it's the same people commenting on my shit,
Dude,
but it's
been my best friend since 1997.
oh shit! Fuck, I'm
High
sorry.
school bros.
Sorry to hear that, Chip. Number 4 from 4 to 1, we have Exorcist 2, Superman 4, Cannonball Run 2, and Book of Shadows Blair Witch 2. So honorable mention to Look Who's Talking 2 and 3, which part 2 is actually fucking good. I don't know what the fuck his problem with Look Who's Talking 2, but we're gonna move on. Honorable mentions, David, hit me up, brother. What do you got for honorable mentions?
Yeah, like I've had to do some reshuffling. I'm going to do Rocky 5. Rocky 5 was going to be my first one, but since y'all discussed it, I did some shuffling. So I'll go ahead and put Rocky 5 up, honorable mention. Y'all defended it well. I can see your perspective. We don't need to shit on it anymore. So yeah, Rocky 5 is my honorable mention.
All right, Wagner?
My honorable mention, oh man, I wanted to put it on there, but does anyone know Star Wars?
Oh, he said Star Wars and he got cut off.
I hope he says episode 4. That'd be fantastic. If it was like
Empire Strikes Back.
That'd be fantastic if he was like, fuck episode 4. I don't like the original. That'd be fucking great. Yeah. He's coming
George
back
Lucas was like, nope, not having this anymore. They already shit on a couple of them.
Very tough.
Okay, I'm back.
All right. What were you saying? We heard Star Wars.
What the hell just happened? All of a sudden it said host is call.
Yeah, you said Star Wars, and then it went off, so we figured George Lucas had censored you.
Damn you, Kathleen Kennedy! You're shitting on my hopes.
So, Attack of the Clones.
There you go.
Everything. The first one catches hell, and yes, "Are you an angel?" is one of the lamest lines ever uttered.
Try spinning.
But as you guys will say with the the Rocky 5 defense, I will defend Phantom Menace for the Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Darth Maul lightsaber fight.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Duel of the Fates? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, I will defend Yoda versus Dooku in Attack of the Clones. I loved it.
I can't deal with the love arc of that movie. It's so bad.
So the acting, it's the acting, dude.
Defending fascism.
It's just the act. It's not even the story or the love arc. It's the acting in that love arc. It's so bad. Hold me like you hold me by the lake in the boo. I was like, oh fuck you. Like it's just so bad, dude.
All just like it's so creepy. Like Anakin's whole thing is basically just like, I'm going to force you into this relationship by never shutting up about it. Like, it's almost like he just browbeats her into being like, fuck it, I'll give him a piece of pussy to shut the fuck up.
Oh my God, it's so funny. It's so
like,
bad. I hate the sound.
Jedi.
I literally had me and Jeff, we were doing a rewatch, and me and my other friend, my best friend Jeff, we had the same joke, but we didn't know about it because we weren't watching it together, but we were watching it like a week apart. And he says, I hate sand. It gets in everywhere. And we both thought of the same punchline. We're like, especially my vagina. Like, oh, stop being such a bitch, dude. Like, oh my God, you're complaining the whole fucking movie, you whiny bitch. Like, Jesus. It's the acting
a matter
is atrocious.
of like how Obi-Wan still kept with them. That Obi-Wan at some point is like, you know what? I can't fucking deal with it. Yeah, chosen one, I get it, but
it would have been funny if Obi-Wan would have been like, "Look, I know I made a fucking death pact, and I know I fucking told him that I'll take care of it. Fuck it, I can't do it. I'm sorry, I'm fucking out of here."
No. You know what? You want me to say it? You want me to fucking say it, Mace? You were right. Okay. You were right. Okay.
Wouldn't it be great?
$5.
Wouldn't it be great? Right. He knocks up fucking this chick, right? He knocks up whatever her name is. He fucking knocks her up. Padme. And then they call him in because they're gonna go, we're gonna put you on the console, right? He's like, what? Yeah, we're gonna make you. He's like, oh my God, I'm gonna get made. And then he walks in there and he sees an empty room, and then he's like, oh shit. And then he takes a fucking lightsaber to the face. He takes a lightsaber to the face, and then Obi-Wan gets a phone call, and then he's like, "What? What happened?" He's like, "It's over." What? No, it's over. Yeah. Like, what do you mean? No,
it's there's nothing over. We can do about it.
There's nothing we can do about it. That's right.
That would have been the perfect ending to fucking Anakin. Fucking just the worst.
Rolling Stones played.
Debona. Honorable mentions, brother.
I limited myself to one horror movie, so this one made it to honorable mentions. It was mentioned just briefly. Exorcist 2: The Heretic is a god-awful sequel to an incredible horror movie. Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps.
Never saw it.
Is terrible, and I love Wall Street, and it was just awful. U.S. Marshals, the sequel to The Fugitive. If you've never seen it,
I've seen
is
it.
bad. And my last honorable mention was actually originally my number 4 before I realized it didn't get theatrical review, but I'm going to say it just because a lot of people don't know it exists, and that's American Psycho 2, All American Girl with Mila Kunis.
Yeah.
And it is terrible, and it falls into that vein of Book of Shadows and some of the other stuff we've talked about, where it wasn't supposed to be an American Psycho movie, but they tagged on this Patrick Bateman subplot so they could promote it as American Psycho 2, and it is god awful.
Yeah,
because Bret Easton Ellis wanted money.
Yeah,
I am one of those people that did not know this movie existed until I started doing research for this episode. So I had no idea this movie existed, and
it was my number 4 until I realized it was a straight to DVD sequel.
And Mila Kunis panned it. She said she hates the fucking movie. She hates everything about it, and that's not a good sign when the fucking lead.
Well, she hated everything about it except for that paycheck.
She was already filming it when it was just called All American Girl. They were filming it already when they decided to call it American Psycho 2 and then recut it to feature the Patrick Bateman stuff, who's not even played by Christian Bale.
Fuck that. All right, so
straight to DVD money, don't get Batman.
My honorable mention was the one that was contention for my number 4 that I didn't want to put because there was already too many superhero movies. Is Amazing Spider-Man 2. So that's
shortly.
Yeah.
I thought about Spider-Man 3, but I've never actually seen it. But I was just so angry about that movie.
So my daughter's 8 years old, and she is infatuated with the character of Venom. She fucking loves him. She loves the movie Venom with Tom Hardy. I've given her a couple comics of Venom. Like, I've read through them before I give it to her to make sure it's okay for a fucking 8-year-old. And she has like Funko Pops of Venom, all that shit there. We're going through my movie collection on the Apple TV, and I passed by she watches Spider-Man 2, which again I hate fucking Spider-Man 2, but I know I'm in a minority in that one.
I think it's vastly overrated.
Yeah, and then
me too.
And while we pick Spider-Man 2, it says in the underneath it says, people also watched this record, fucking similar movies, and Spider-Man 3 was there, and it had the fucking picture on the cover of Spider-Man with Venom, like that duo shit, and she's like, I want to see that movie, and I told her, I go, listen, I had to explain to her how different movie universes work, and this has nothing to do with the movie you've already seen that was filmed 20 years later. Like, I had to explain that to an 8-year-old, and then I showed her fucking Spider-Man 3, and as much as she was trying to tell me that she liked it, she didn't finish watching it. Like, when the fucking fight scene came, she was like, she just walked away. Like, that's a fucking bad movie when an 8-year-old who is a fan of the character just walks away during the fight scene of the movie. She's like, I'm done.
But we're glossing over the awesome part of this 8-year-old that then went back and said they liked it.
Yeah.
They walked away from it and still had the gall to be like, nah, pretty good flick.
Yeah.
I don't see what the big deal is. It's a good flick.
Like, what is it gonna?
It.
Yeah, she's. I love her. All right, so let's go ahead and do number 1s.
Round 1.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back.
Do it! Come on!
All right, David, hit me up, brother. What do you got for number 1?
All right, this is one that I saw the midnight release. Was really excited about seeing it when it came out, and I fell asleep through the climax of the movie when all the action is supposed to be happening, because I was like, this movie is god awful boring. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Nice. All right.
Like, I love Raiders of the Lost Ark. Don't really care for Temple of Doom. Love Last Crusade. So I'm like, all right, new Indiana Jones movie. I'm all in. Let's go see this. The premise is kind of out there. What they're trying to find, okay, it could have been, something more interesting than aliens and all that shit. But I'm like, it's just it reminds me of the mid 2000s so much, in that it's just like it's just there. There's nothing to it. There's nothing interesting about it.
It's just there. I like that.
It's just there. That's how I view that time in my life, and it's just like I was so mad and angry when I left that theater. I've never seen it since, and there hasn't been another Indiana Jones film since, and I don't really want to see Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones again. This movie just left such a horrible taste in my mouth.
I remember going into that and just having no idea that like the reveal was going to be aliens, and just being so disappointed. Just 1,000% disappointed. It was like, it felt like such a cop out. Like for everything, like even Temple of Doom to this much of an extent had some historical legacy to it, you know, like with the way that the movie was put together. And it just felt so lazy for it to just be like, oh yeah, it's aliens. And I was like, no, fuck this movie.
Yeah. And here's another thing. Indiana Jones, not a great archaeologist. He's a grave robber, but that's a whole other story. If you listen to
it belongs in a museum.
If you want to get an archaeologist pissed off, bring up Ancient Aliens. Because all Ancient Aliens is just pissing on these cultures that actually accomplished something, and you're completely discrediting it. That they were able to build the pyramids or build these, civilizations.
Because they weren't.
So a movie about ancient aliens, I'm not about it at all.
Ancient Aliens loves to be like, do you really think a bunch of prehistoric brown people could have done this? It must be aliens.
There's no way they could.
I took one archaeology class in college, and a professor ranted on that for a good 5-10 minutes. I'll never forget it. I'm like, you know what? He's right. He's one.
No, he's not.
Right.
All right, so here's the thing. I didn't watch.
Absolutely, it's aliens.
It took years. It took years for me to watch this movie because I was like, I don't want to watch. Like, it's just one of those things where it doesn't seem interesting. It doesn't seem good, and then it got trashed universally. It got panned so bad by everybody that you go, oh, okay, it's not good, right? You move on with your life.
I remember. What's his name? Shia LaBeouf is either at the VMAs or it's the MTV Movie Awards. That had to be the Movie Awards, I guess. He was like, hey, I've got some breaking news. I can reveal what the new name of the new Indiana Jones movie is going to be because I'm in it, whatever. It's Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And people legit thought it was a joke. He thought he was like doing a bit. And when that got revealed, because it was timed to when the embargo of the name was released, so a bunch of other news sites started reporting it. I distinctly remember the comment. Again, this is 2006 before Twitter and all this everything. I remember comments on the page were like, "Is this a joke? No, this can't be the name of the movie."
Well, I didn't watch it forever. It took me a long time to watch it. I finally watched it maybe 2 years ago, and it was only because, again, my friend and co-host David likes the movie. He's a huge Indiana Jones fan to the effect that he literally wears a fedora. Not ironically, he literally wears a fedora in real life because he loves Indiana Jones so much. Again, this is not a joke. This is an actual thing. And so he was like, no, it was a good movie. So I had heard so many bad things about the movie that when I finally did watch it, again, only to appease my friend, the refrigerator thing is fucking batshit stupid. And then I got bad shit stupid.
That's the first thing in the movie.
Yeah, the first thing in the movie. And then when it gets to the monkeys, I literally asked my friends, I was like, everybody talks about the fucking refrigerator, but how come nobody warned me about how stupid the fucking monkey thing is? Like, that's pretty fucking stupid. I forgot
about that until you brought it up.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. Ultimately, at the end, I didn't think it was a bad movie. I am not an Indiana Jones diehard fan like you guys are. I don't care either way. I like the movies. I don't think they're the greatest thing on earth, but I don't think they're bad. They're okay for me, but I understand some people like you, David, and my other friend David, as a matter of fact, his name too is David.
I'm not a huge fan. I like the first and the third one.
Dude, you watched, really well. You did a midnight viewing. I'm going to go ahead and say you're a fucking fan.
I did midnight viewings for all the big releases at that time.
Yeah,
that was just because I liked
David didn't have a whole lot going on at midnight.
There you go. There you go. I will say the funnest midnight movie I ever saw was at the same time. Might have even been the same year. Snakes on a Plane, midnight showing in Tuscaloosa. It was a damn party in that theater.
Hell yes, it was. I was there too, and that was before I knew David. But
What movie? What movie?
Like
Snakes on a Plane.
Snakes on a Plane.
Oh shit!
Because everybody in that theater bought into that film and got the joke and was 100% on board with it.
Right.
And it was a party from start to
All right.
Oh
yeah. All right. So we got Crystal Skulls. Wagner, hit me. What's your number one? What's your worst movie sequel?
My worst sequel, sitting with a 4% on Rotten Tomato, with a box office of $11 million on a $25 million budget. The sequel to my second favorite film of all time, with only one returning person, Caddyshack 2.
Oh.
So bad. This is the first time I've even acknowledged its existence. I love Caddyshack. I can quote damn near the entire movie of Caddyshack. I think that it is Chevy Chase's finest hour, more than the vacation movies and that.
Yeah.
It is Chevy Chase at his most dickheadedness. And just killing scenes. Bill Murray, killing scenes. Ted Knight, killing scenes. What should we do? Don't bring them back. Let's get Jackie Gleason and Robert Stack, because I guess Unsolved Mysteries in 1988 was, hitting.
Doesn't even have Rodney in it. Like
no, Jackie Gleason took over for Rodney. Yeah, and I mean, look, it's so bad that one of the great lines from it was in production. Chevy Chase walked off set and said, "Call me back when you write some jokes." It's so not funny. I hate it. I hate it with fucking passion. The soundtrack's awful. Every little thing that you could do wrong. And apparently, this was going to be built. National Lampoons wanted to make Caddyshack a thing, and this killed it. And we have never revisited Caddyshack again. A lot of these movies might have killed it, but they eventually came back. We ain't never seen Caddyshack 3. And we better never see Caddyshack remake, because I will burn that theater.
Yeah, because they tried to do a vacation remake, and it was a dumpster fire.
I don't think the vacation remake was worse than Vegas. Vegas was fucking bad, dude.
Oh, see, I like Vegas Vacation.
Yeah,
I can't
Vegas
be mad.
Is bad.
I like
Vegas.
Vegas.
I'm not saying it's good. I like a lot of shit.
There are things that I like about each of those movies, but I saw Vacation with like, oh, this is going to be worse than Vegas, and then I watched. I'm like, it's fine. It's whatever. But
I like Vegas more than European.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed. But Wagner, let me ask you a question. What did you watch Caddyshack as a kid? Did you grow up watching Caddyshack, the original?
Oh yeah. No, see, my dad built golf courses. So Caddyshack was an institution in our home. Right. Like, I'm not lying when me and my dad will still throw out lines from it to each other. Where I will sit there and just be like, oh shit, pretty cool little shirt. Keep it. Like, just go in and say, keep it throughout everything.
Have you read the book about its production of Caddyshack?
Yes, and watched the documentary on it.
Okay.
Like, it's my second favorite movie of all time. And it sits and fights for number one and then number three, because Valley Girl fights Caddyshack a lot.
Blu-ray release.
Then Boogie Nights is always there. Oh, for Valley Girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking to grab it. I'm also very angry they're trying to do a musical version of Valley Girl. It's really got me pissed off.
I really like Valley Girl too, man. Sorry.
But like the first Caddyshack is like a perfect film. It's got a little conflict, got some funny, got a little titty in it. Like, it's a perfect flick. And what did you do for the other one? Like, you grabbed Dan Aykroyd when we learned Dan Aykroyd actually isn't very funny. He's just was funny. When was the last time you were like, wow, Dan Aykroyd? That funny motherfucker.
When he was doing the show where he was a priest, that was hilarious.
Oh wow!
No, I'm kidding.
That's a deep pull.
Yeah, whoa, that's like you pulled that one so far up your ass you touched your lung.
I couldn't even fucking remember the name of the show. I was like, was it Holy Man? No, that was Cedric the Entertainer. What the fuck was the name of the show?
I thought it was.
It wasn't Amen because that was.
Hold on.
Yeah, no, Holy Man. I'm pretty sure was. I'm pretty sure Holy Man was Cedric the Entertainer. Pretty sure they were very close in time frame.
Soul Man.
There you go.
Even worse title.
Yeah, Cedric the Entertainer should have been Soul Man.
Yeah, exactly. Is it racist? All right, so we're moving on. DeBono, what do you got for number one, brother?
So my number one, honest to God, is not worse than Son of Mask. But the reason that I made it number one is because it absolutely ruined what I consider to be peak modern horror. I think that the premise for great modern horror is very much less is more. And the first one of this series did that perfectly, whereas this one completely threw that out the window 100%. It took what was an absolutely amazing and terrifying premise for a movie and shit on it completely and totally. My number one is Sinister 2. And like I said, it's a very, very personal pick because I think when it comes to modern horror, there's a handful of movies that stand head and shoulders above the rest. Sinister, Paranormal Activity, and Insidious. I think that when you're talking modern horror, those movies are a masterclass in how you take a $3 million budget and you turn it into something absolutely terrifying. And it's unfortunate that they did this with Sinister 2. They tripled their budget and then some. And they went way overboard with it. They completely and totally shit the bed. And Sinister, like, I know that half of y'all are not horror movie fans, so I don't know if you've seen it, Dave, but Sinister is terrifying. It is 100% edge of your seat. Just everything is scary and horrifying. And Sinister 2 took all of that and flushed it down the toilet and made not even a good version of like a 90s ultra gore movie. It was absolutely terrible. And they showed everything where with Sinister, it was so much of it was an Act 3 reveal that made it so good. Sinister 2, there was no Act 3 reveal. You just watched it all play out in real time. It was horribly boring. It was not scary at all. And like I said, honestly, Son of Mask is a worse movie, but I don't know that I have ever been more disappointed in a sequel than I was in Sinister 2. It's at a 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. They didn't bring, for reasons that I'm sure you could figure out, they didn't bring back any of the original cast, but it's the same guys who wrote it. It's still Blumhouse who made it. I don't know why they decided that this is what they should do for a sequel, but the first one made a ton of money on a shoestring budget, and it was incredible. And for this one, they just completely took everything that made the first one and made it terrible. And like I said, the reason this had to be my number one is because it hurt my soul to watch them completely ruin what very easily could have been a franchise along the lines of Insidious and The Purge. They could have turned this into a great thing if Sinister 2 had simply been a prequel film instead of making this. I am in no way anybody who knows anything about making movies, and I will very rarely use the phrase, I know how they could have done that better. But I, honest to God, feel like if given the opportunity, I could have at least storyboarded a Sinister 2 that would have been light years better than this one. I was so incredibly disappointed to the point of depressed in Sinister 2. So again, probably another one that y'all haven't seen because it's a horror movie, but it's just such a letdown after what is, like I said, the keystone of modern horror and Sinister. So I had to make it my number one.
I can't argue because I haven't seen it. My experience with Sinister is one of my favorite podcasts, Junk Food Cinema, is, one of the hosts is C. Robert Cargill, the guy who wrote Sinister.
Yeah.
And so that's how I've heard of Sinister a bunch, but never seen it.
It's like I said, it's up there with Insidious and Paranormal Activity, which is here's how you scare people now. You make them use their imagination and you make it hyper realistic. And like that's what you've got to do to make good horror now, because we've all lived through the Nightmare on Elm Street phase, and we've lived through the torture porn phase with Hostel and things like that. And those the less is more element is what makes modern horror, and Sinister and Insidious are a masterclass in that. And this was the absolute opposite of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I had no fucking idea what you're talking about.
You didn't see
like I said, I could have.
It sounds really bad, but I'm going to be honest. I didn't know Sinister existed, much less the sequel of Sinister.
Got Obi-Wan Kenobi in it. But it's like I said, I very easily could have just done this with horror movies. And this is the most disappointed I've ever been, not just with a horror movie, but with the sequel ever, because I actually expected very big things of this movie.
Yeah, no, it's I know of the original, and I know that people didn't like the sequel, but I didn't see the original, so. But it sounds awful.
Dude, don't. Look, Neri, from what I know of you, I will occasionally be like, no, you could even just, it's moderately scary, but you might still enjoy it. Dude, stay the fuck away from Sinister, Neri. It will haunt your dreams.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. You don't have to sell me on that. You really don't. I mean, there was zero interest of me watching it before you said that. Now that you said that, thank you, I guess. But I mean, can you get less than 0% interested? But all right. My number one is a movie that was touched upon by one of the listeners as far as the comments that they gave on the Facebooks. And my number one is also a Jim Carrey movie. It's a sequel. It's a sequel to a Jim Carrey movie. Is now actually a Jim Carrey movie. Is Dumb and Dumber 2. Is
oh God, it's so bad.
So fucking bad. I just watch the trailer, and in the trailer they give you the 2, maybe 3 good jokes that they have in the entire movie. You're like, oh, okay, this seems like it could be funny, and like, oh, it got me hyped up for it. I'm like, oh fuck, it's back. It got the original cast. It's not like, I literally said this to my friend, it's not like some Son of Mask bullshit where they got some other actor. It's literally they got the fucking real people to do the sequel, and then you watch it, and I shit you the fuck not. I think I remember the time mark. I think it was something along the lines of like 58 minutes into the movie is when I first chuckled. And when I say first chuckled, I mean the only time I chuckled, because I was fucking done. I didn't go back. There was no more laughter after that. And I was like, oh, this is really fucking bad. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. For a few moments in time there, I was like illegally fucking downloading these movies, and this is one of the movies that I did not pay for. And I gotta be honest with you, I don't feel bad about this one. I don't feel bad. I would have felt really fucking pissed if I would have paid for this shit. And I've gone back and bought movies that I had originally illegally downloaded. I've gone back and paid for it because I felt guilty. I'm like, no, now I have money. I could fucking spend some money on. And I have purchased well over 1,400 movies on my Apple account, and fuck that. Dumb and Dumber 2 is atrocious, and I would never give them my fucking money. Fuck that. And growing up, he's a childhood hero of mine, Jim Carrey. Childhood hero, could do no wrong for a long time, and then he made fucking this shit, and I'm like, no, I'm out. Can't do this, man.
It's so bad, and that's another one like where my number one came in, where it was just such a disappointment, like in total.
Yeah. So really bad. I will say this. It's been a long time. It's happened a few times throughout the last 3 years of us doing this podcast, but it's been a long time that we didn't get a single repeat. Not a single.
16 different picks.
16 different movies, which is pretty impressive if you think about it. Because, I mean, you know, even on the Facebook, there was a lot of people repeating shit. So, all right. So, when we usually do, we get, like, we pick the final mountain, and we just, you know, we do the voting thing based on repeats and shit like that. But since nobody repeated it, the few other times that this has happened, we just go with our number one selection as the final mountain. So that's what we're going to end up doing this time. Is Wagner still with us?
Hold on. I'll tell you what. The one thing
I am. I was looking up some quick facts on this Sinister film because I have no fucking idea.
Terrifying.
I'm with you, though. The only one of mine, I will concede Rocky 5. Maybe I need to give it a second look. But Caddyshack 2, I refuse to not have on this fucking.
I will say I would almost, even though it was my number
Sinister
2.
I want Sinister 2 on there.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, look, I mean, I was willing to concede my number 2 to my number 1 because I feel like you guys might actually watch Son of Mask and experience how bad it is. And but
no, Son of Mask.
I'll say Jaws 4 in place of Crystal Skull because Jaws 4 is literally one of the worst movies ever made. I can admit that. So it honestly needs to be. If I'm getting one spot for this, if we're all getting one spot for this, Jaws 4.
And honestly, I think Son of Mask is a worse movie. Sinister 2 being my number 1 was a very personal thing. So if I've got to pick one, give me Son of Mask.
All right. So, you know, another thing I fucking hate, and I get it, it's on brand, but the fact that it's Dumb and Dumber T.O., fuck you. Like, that's so, I get it. It's on par. It's on brand. It's on brand. They're supposed to be stupid. I understand. I get the fucking joke, but I'm just like, oh, fuck, you know what? Fuck you. So Dumb and Dumber, so we got Jaws 4, Caddyshack 2, Dumb and Dumber T.O., and Son of Mask. All right. Son of Mask. All right. Well, that's it, man. That's the final mountain. What do you guys got, David? Hit me up, man. I want to promote your shit. You are a fantastic photographer. We are, of course, we go back a while, but I'm also a follower of yours on Twitter, and you post some great shit. So let people know where they can see you, man.
Yeah, wedding photography. I'm available all over the United States. D. Smith Images, concert and cultural photography. Concert photography really is going to be happening for a while. But if you want to see, stuff I have done, D. Smith Scenes, as in like SCENES. So yeah, D. Smith Images, D. Smith Scenes. Those are the social media tags as well. So you want to check me out there.
And as a major fan of this artist, I say this: best concert photo of Rob Zombie I've ever seen belongs to
my
this
favorite photo I've ever taken. So yeah.
Did you photograph your own wedding? Because that might be fucked up for you to say that. If you it's like, yeah, I photographed my own wedding, but Rob Zombie, that's the best picture I've ever fucking taken in my life.
I was in my sister's wedding and photographed it as well. So,
all right, Wagner, what do you got, man? You got anything you want to promote? Podcast that you don't listen to?
You know what? I got my Snapchat, Wags to Bitches. Put a lot of dick pics on that. Hit that up. My Instagram, that thing is protected. But if you want to add me, it's the Daniel Wagner. There's a chance, but I like to keep less people I'm following than follow me because it makes me feel better. Twitter, Daniel Wagner. I will occasionally post something on it every once in a while if I get bored. With all the comedy clubs and stuff shut down, I'll be at the Laugh Factory on Thursday, the 27th of October. Hit me up on that. Giggles in Roanoke, Virginia, March 25th. Be hitting that one up. You can catch me anywhere. I'm everywhere. I got so much going on. I got so much going on in my life right now. It's just, Oh God, I'm so fucking bored.
It's the only reason I was able to get them.
The only time I'm leaving the house is on a Friday night to get my takeout from my favorite place.
Release of a movie.
I'm going to bed at 9 at night each night because, like, I don't have a concert to shoot. It's like I can't deal with this.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Great as in, not we can't do shit about it. DeBona is on the podcast called What You Got, which is part of the Geek Bro Network. Check out the Geek Bro Network at geekbro.net. You can check out the bonus podcast, again, called What You Got. Other podcasts on the Geek Bro Network are the What's Up Bro podcast. Better Let Me Tell You, the Childlike at Best with Mike Valdez and The Layer. So make sure you guys check that out. Geekbro.net. Fellas, David, Wagner, thank you so much, brother. This has been a long time coming. I've been meaning to get at you guys for a long time, and I've just been lazy as shit. So thank you, Wagner, for waking me up with your comment on my Instagram post. He is by far, he was like, when the fuck are you going to have the creators of this fucking podcast on? And here we are. So thank you very much, brother. Love both of you. Thank you very much for letting me steal your shit. Check out my comedy at narysigns.com and or whatwashisname.com. You guys been great. That's how making lists are made.